What can your brain just not comprehend? I can't comprehend why any company would think I'm more likely to buy their product if they make their commercial 20 dB louder than all other commercials. Instant boycott. The sheer size and scale of the universe, like the fact that you can fit all the planets of the solar system between the Earth and the Moon. Now realize how far apart all the planets are in the solar system. This is practically next door compared to the distance between our sun and the nearest star. There are billions of stars in our Milky Way, with the majority having planets of their own. The sheer scale of the vast emptiness involved means that even when our galaxy merges with the Andromeda galaxy in 4.5 billion years time, there will be very, very few actual collisions between stars. Then there is a void between galaxies, and that it takes billions of years for light, at its speed massless, and the fastest speed possible, to travel between galaxies. Speaks of the sheer emptiness and distance in that void. I can't quite fathom it. My little brain can't comprehend the vast emptiness of space and the fact it supposedly just stretches on forever and never has an end. Kind of wild when you try imagine it. What was there before the universe? What was there before that? And that, and you get the idea. How some people are rude, and when you're rude back they can't understand why. Language. The fact that we all collectively decided separately and divertingly that certain sounds have meanings and that other sound mixed with those can change the meaning. Thanks for all of the upvotes and the award 3. Adding on to what I said. Sounds are just vibrations in the air that our brains interpret into the sensation of hearing. Really, we are vibrating the air at each other, and those air vibrations to your brain contain meaning. When you think about it like this, language is not too dissimilar to the internet in a way. Makes you realize how crazy and unique of a skill language really is. Without it, we wouldn't have a civilization. Another interesting thing related to this is when people call your name. Even if you're in a crowded area with hundreds of people talking around you, and you think you're tuning them out, if you hear your name you immediately notice. Some part of your brain must be constantly listening. Here are some other things my mind can't quite grasp. Computers. The fact that my phone is performing countless mathematical operations constantly. The Planck length. If I understand it right, it's the smallest distance anything can move. Like a pixel of space. The human body and animals in general were a collection of large number, but I don't know how large cells all working together in various systems somehow sustaining a brain that is able to be conscious. It's a miracle animals work at all, let alone what they are capable of. Why my ankles crack when I walk. What the future will be like. The world is changing so fast it's likely the future will be nothing like we think, and it's coming. How a simple calculator works. I can do math. I'm actually very good at it. How does a little plastic box do it though? Always boggled my mind. Fourth dimensional shapes. It kinda boggles my mind. Edit, I don't even know what time is now. Dates. I'm considered a historian by my family due to my knowledge on most world history. But god dang dates. I could be talking about WWII and say it happened the same date as World War I. Everything. To be honest, does everything in this world exist, or is everything in this world just an illusion from our minds? That all the other persons I talk to or see have their own thoughts, own inner dialogue and own life. For gaming analogy, sometimes I just feel like others are NPC, and I just can't comprehend that there are more than 7 billion person just like me. Light isn't affected by time, so other things could just exist outside of time. Like, if you were a photon that traveled at light speed for 1,000,000 years and then hit an alien's third butt, you'd experience it as instantly being 1,000,000 light years away. There are people who don't have an internal dialogue with themselves, so they never question if they are right or wrong. They never wonder if they are treating someone fairly, or if they are nice or mean. They can change their minds with no information, but it doesn't involve the process most of us go through when confronted with an opinion or new data. It's not common, but it's not entirely rare. When I learned about this, I just couldn't understand how it was even possible. A hypercube, or the fifth dimension. We live in the fourth dimension. Thus we perceive things in 3 dimensions: length, width, height, depth. However, something that lives in the fifth dimension would be able to perceive a fourth dimension. We just can't comprehend what that extra dimension is. In comparison, a third dimension creature, which can only see 2 dimensions, can't comprehend what the third dimension we see is. I'll explain it like this. There is a creature living in the first dimension. If you put a cube in front of it, assuming it can see, it would only see a dot, because a dot in this sense has no dimensions. A second dimensional creature would see a line, because a line has 1 dimension. A third dimensional creature would see a square, and a fourth dimensional creature, like us, see a cube. But what would a fifth dimensional creature see? What is that other dimension? I've imagined it would be the inside of things. Like it could see inside a cube without it having an opening. If that's the case, then what would a sixth dimensional creature see? This also brings up these questions. Is there a 0th dimension? What would a creature see in it? If it is safe to assume that there is an infinite amount of dimensions, then that means negative dimensions exist. What would those creatures see? How someone can kill in the name of their god. How someone can abuse their children. That space is flat. I've seen all the explanations. I've had an astrophysicist explain it to me. I just can't get there in my head. Ironically enough itself, there's a lot of reasons for this. We can understand how the brain works from an electrochemical level, and we can describe regions of the brain, the physical and mental processes that they relate to, and how it develops and changes over time. But so far we are nowhere close to being able to duplicate it in any real way. How do we form memories? What is our brain doing when it sleeps? How is it possible to put the raw computational power of the mind into a 1.4 kilogram organ that has the consistency of semi-solidified jello? We think of microprocessors and supercomputers as fast, but just consider everything going on in your brain when you drive a car. Now Google automaticity. What I love the most about this incredibly weird thing in our skulls is that it lies to us all the time. Our visual cortex can be easily tricked. Our memories can be easily manipulated or even fabricated. Heuristics and biases distort and alter reality so often that we develop things like the Mandela effect. Something as simple as saccadic masking is kinda creepy. If you think about it, your brain distorts time and selectively ignores the blur of eye movement from one point of fixation to another. Electromagnetic induction seems like free energy, but that breaks the laws of thermodynamics. I don't know how it works. Why people vote for politicians who have a party affiliation without ever reading anything about them, or their policies or political history, and only pick them because of their party. Nothing. Like say there is no God or heaven or afterlife, or whatever. And when you die it's just nothing. Not an empty room. Not blackness. Just nothing. I really can't wrap my head around it. The fact that the universe is expanding into nothing. That if the universe is infinite, there is a possibility that this isn't the first universe that has been created here. And if it's not the first, then there have been infinite universes before, and infinite universes, infinite probabilities in all universes, meaning everything that can possibly happen will happen. How China and India each have more people than North America and Europe combined. That people who were born deaf don't have an inner monologue until they are taught sign language, and then that inner monologue takes the form of signs. I hear that there are some people who just never develop an inner monologue. Like, how can you even function like that? There is no more water on Earth. Water is not created. It just gets moved around on this floating ball in space we call Earth. All the water in the world that has been drunk, processed and excreted as piss from every human and animal ever to have existed on Earth has eventually ended up in the sea, gets recycled, and the process starts again. A glass of water could theoretically contain particles that originated as piss from dinosaurs and Roman soldiers or Egyptian gods and slaves. The fact that supposedly people can picture things in their head. When they close their eyes they can think about something and visualize it. Makes no sense to me at all. If I try to visualize something I can state facts about the thing I'm thinking about. The ball is blue and fluffy, but I don't see a blue fluffy ball. Apparently people could see that. It truly boggles my mind and I can't believe it. I don't even have to close my eyes, dude. You said blue fluffy ball, and it appeared in my head. Existing in society and being okay living a template that everyone is supposed to follow. Like Duckman, I have to depend on a lot of things to be alive, and that ducking sucks. Good idea, let's baby teens until they're 17, and when they turn 18 let's duck and yeet them, cause duck, that's how it's been for decades. Not even a speck of knowledge to help them, and when they develop some kind of issues let's tell them to swallow a spoon of cement and toughen up, and then let's leave them to wonder WTF to do with their life. And if they can't decide, let's pressure them to choose a career to pursue and tell them that they'll be tied to it for a long time, so better make a good decision. And then tell them to accept that the world is cruel and just be jaded and numb like the rest of them. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.